Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, or has it been forever?
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is Fiasco. To learn how we generate our story using the game of Fiasco, go check out our rules primer. We're going to be playing the playset Hollywood Hospital by Rachel Story Burke. And our humble players for this game, myself, John Holt.
Hey everybody, it's me, Ken Breeze. What's going on? Nice to be here with you again.
And our returning guest.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Cook. Nice to be playing today.
All right, welcome back.
Yay, Tiffany. Welcome back.
Thanks.
All right, so Tiffany helped us pick out this score.
Yeah, Hollywood Hospital.
Yeah, so
This has an interesting mechanic tagged on it too, I believe.
Yeah, so it's a very Scrubs heavily based playset, and I think it
Scrubs.
It actually
Have you watched that show, John?
I watched a good amount of it.
You
Yeah,
a Zach fan? You like Zach?
Zach Braff.
Zach Morris.
Zach Morris?
Zach
Do you like
Morris.
Zach Morris?
It could fit for either.
So it's also going to use, and this is something we haven't done before, the soft tilt
That's
and
right.
soft aftermath
That's right.
tables. So it's definitely some pulled punches in this one, which is kind of cool.
But not real. They're terrible though. Still, it's still terrible.
Yeah, the crises are like more existential. than
Yeah, which
physical.
I tend to find more terrible. Isn't that always the old cliche? Like, I'm going to leave you alive because being alive is worse than death.
Touche.
Yeah.
There's also a mechanic where we have daydreams, and daydreams play a big part in this. In fact, when we start our play set, when we build our table,
Yeah,
our
when we got our grid.
that's the one. That's the word.
Ticket.
That's the word.
We replaced 4 of the dice with red dice,
Yeah.
and when we use those dice specifically, we'll mark that card. Those are elements to be used in daydreams.
That's right, John.
So one note about the daydreams is when there are, sometimes we'll just cut away to a daydream, and I
Yes.
think those are ones where you just do it as like
Well,
a
the
little
rule
smash
is
cut.
that whereas normally a character or whoever's turn it is gets to choose if they're setting the scene or if they want the other people to set the
Right.
scene.
What I'm noting is that there are 2 different types of daydreams.
Yes.
There's ones that are within your scene. You're encouraged to just cut away,
Right.
describe a very short, like, what if,
Right.
and then cut back and let it resume action. And then, like you're saying, there's the ones where you specifically say to the group, this is a daydream, I want you to set it up for me. And then you play out that the group sets up the daydream, sets up the narration,
Yes.
and then you come out of that and determine
Right.
how this scene actually
Right,
happened.
actually happens once
Based on that dream.
Because we're going to switch out the red dice for white and black.
Yeah,
once-
it's interesting because the red dice in
yeah.
this, unlike Camp Death or one of
Yeah.
those others, go directly towards the grid building versus the game building.
Yeah, and then we'll
gameplay.
switch them out and just use positive and negative for the scenes.
So we've generated our grid and our characters.
Oh, yeah. Looking
So,
good. In the
let's-
hospital.
Let's run down the grid real quick, and then we'll run through our characters.
Okay.
Between my character and Ken's, we have a work relationship, supervisor and underling, which is also marked with a daydream.
It is. We will have daydreams about us being connected.
And we also have a
Work-wise.
need to get rich
Burning.
by selling a black market kidney.
Get rich by selling a kidney. Oh, see so many good things in our future.
And so between Ken's character and Tiffany's character, we have a hospital relationship. They are on the chief of staff shit list.
Yeah.
And they're also sharing an object between their relationship, a deadly object, which is a filthy, germy, used handkerchief lying on the floor. And that's also marked with a daydream aspect.
I think that it is. Yeah, never mind. We'll get into it. It's shitty. It's deadly,
It is
everyone.
definitely
It's
deadly.
a deadly object.
It's definitely deadly.
And between Tiffany and myself, there is a friendship relationship, which is a totally one-sided friendship. And again, that is also marked with a daydream demarcation.
Yeah, I love it. That makes perfect sense.
And a location, the
daydream
patient
about the
area,
one-sided friendship.
a deluxe, out-of-your-mind Mac Daddy
Daddy.
birthing suite.
The patient area location, the Mac Daddy birthing suite. Deluxe out of your mind birthing suite. Awesome. How many tubs does it have, John?
It is just one big
Just
ball
one
pit.
big ball
One big
pit
ball
tub?
pit tub.
Awesome.
It's like a big, massive hot tub.
For immersion.
I love it. Yes,
Immersed
for
births.
for complete immersion.
So characters, I am playing Nurse Boyd, who's a nurse practitioner, a 31-year-old male. And yeah, he is loving this hospital. He definitely wants to get more into the OGBYN aspect of things. Yeah, he's
Cool.
all about it.
Into doula-ness and midwifery, possibly.
He's totally down. He loves kids.
He loves kids.
Like
Loves birthing
he
babies.
just loves the whole messy process.
Who said it had to be messy? But
He
I
loves
guess
it.
it is.
You
But
just
yeah,
get
it
in
is.
I
there,
don't
get
know
your
that there's
hands-
an option for birth that's not messy.
I guess you're 100. You are 100% right. Sweet. So I am nurse practitioner Gunner Boyd's supervisor. He is my underling. I am Nurse Clyde Puddles. Nurse Puddles is in his mid-30s, and he runs all the nurses. He tries to run the hospital as well as he can, but he's sort of a high-functioning burnout, the best way I can put it. But he is a nurse. Somehow he wasn't able to be a doctor, but he's nursing it up, loving being a nurse. He has a big heart, and recently he got sort of into giving abortion services on the side through the hospital, through Dr. Smith's ideas. And so because of that, he got implicated in dropping a germ-ridden item in a clean room as he was trying to run out of the hospital away from some security personnel. That's happened recently, and that's where he is on the shit list of the chief of staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Dr. Sarah Smith is the director of OB-GYN, and she's 43 years old. She's generally a hot blonde, definitely like gets away with a lot at the hospital. However, she is also on the hospital shit list for the chief of staff. And again, predominantly because she's been providing abortion services on the side. And then she's been a provider for a while. She went to UCSF for undergrad, and then she went to Brigham and Women's for residency, and she's really been devoted to her work, so she's been never married. She doesn't really give a fuck about what other people think. She's really just like pushing forward and is really like a career academic medical provider.
There was one thing I forgot to mention about my character, everyone.
Go for it.
I have crushing debt because of my lackadaisical lifestyles, and I need monies. I needs to get rich. So that's why I've been helping you out for the money. All for the money.
All
I'm
for
only
the
in it for the money. Dr.
Makes
Smith.
sense.
All right, John.
All
Where are
right.
we going to start? Where are we going to start this tale of woe?
All right. So
I mean, of hilarity.
so we've got our
Hilarity?
characters and we've got our grid, and we'll roll right into it. The sun beats down on a field, and we see some cows grazing in a meadow and a calf next to its mother, and you hear in the distance the sound of tires on gravel and a country song just getting louder and closer, and zooming right past us is a big old pickup truck
Yep.
with some, she thinks my tractor's sexy or whatnot, blaring. And we cut inside and we see Gunner
Yes.
Boyd
On the road again.
in his scrubs
Come on.
driving around. He pulls in, finally drives through a little like downtown, and then out past a couple churches and a funeral home,
On the road again.
and
Like bandits.
pulls up into a parking lot in front of a reservation hospital.
Reservation Hospital.
You see his license plate, and it says "Beautiful Oklahoma."
Yes, it does. Beautiful Oklahoma.
And his frame is gold around his license plate, and there's a little cross on there. And he gets out of his truck and kicks his boots, clips on his nurse practitioner's badge, and heads on into the hospital. He gets in there. Everything's sort of like breezy. We smash cut to a him coming through the doors and this cowboy song that's been playing the whole time is still going, and people in like Daisy Dukes are waving at him and smiling, and he's just like strutting in, just like hops up on the desk and high fives the clerk. They hand him a coffee, and he waves his hat in the air. And then it cuts back out, and he's almost as he opens the door and almost trips over a gurney. He's coming through the emergency room. This place is hopping. There's all kinds of craziness going on. Mm-hmm. It is bedlam. Across the way is Nurse Paddles.
There she is.
And
there he is.
She looks up at him, looks up at the clock, and scowls.
I think I'm just Nurse Paddles is scowling, yells over everything.
That's right.
That's right. He does. I know. I was confused for a moment as well, but it's okay. Nurse Paddles has very long hair. Some people get confused. He is a larger man. He sort of wears a muumuu. That's his sort of vibe. As he rushes over to Gunner and says, "There's been a terrible accident. What are you doing late? We can't have you late like this ever again. The tack factory exploded."
Oh, Paddles. Listen, I'm sorry.
Eyes, noses, say nothing of souls.
Look,
foot soles, that is.
This is terrible, but look, I have to come in the right headspace. If I want to get my work done right, I need to be in a good place here.
I don't care about your headspace. I have troubles of my own, Nurse Boyd. You need to get up to the 3rd floor. Your shift started 15 minutes ago.
Look, can I just give me 5 to just get my head together? How should this go? I think that's...
Goes poorly.
Yeah.
So time for you to get your head together. Maybe there'll be some coffee left up on 3 if you're lucky. But you better run on up there. And no lunch break for you either. I need to see you in my office.
Oh. And I stumble upstairs, and there is no coffee for me. It's all gone.
No coffee for you.
And I'm just elbows deep in it all day.
Elbows deep. We're flashing back now. Same day, earlier in the day, because Nurse Paddles obviously arrives to work on time. But I think Nurse Paddles drives one of those motorcycles that has 3 wheels. And there aren't 3 wheels and like 2 in the back and 1 in the front, but 2 in the front and 1 in the back. So it's like this futuristic looking sort of thing. And he's driving around, and he's a big guy, but so he put really big wheels on it. So he's he's pretty high up there in the air as he's driving around on this thing. Doesn't drive too fast, doesn't need to. Just drives around on it. Parks that in his sort of spot. You can see it's that beautiful day, beautiful morning. He's got a real big motorcycle helmet on, and it has like one of those big microphones, it looks like, that could come on the side. Maybe there's some sort of ham radio or who knows what going on. But this thing looks like it's fully stocked. And as he's getting off of it, sort of rolling his bulk off, he's taking off the helmet and storing it in saddlebags, and he's going into Reservation Hospital. We cut to him brewing up some coffee, and Dr. Smith coming in, or maybe out. I'm not sure. Is whatever her shift is, if she's coming on or going out, it's unclear because she looks frazzled. She looks frazzled in one way or the other. Paddles says, "You look like you could use some coffee."
Oh God, could I? It's been quite a night. I've been here with 3 laboring women who, I don't know if any of them are going to crown anytime soon.
Well, we'll keep an eye on them and definitely let you know. Your backup you're off shift now, or what? You just going to the room to rest?
I don't know that we're going to have anybody. I mean, I called over to folks to have somebody come in, but you know how it is. Staffing's been such a pain in the ass lately. We're down to just me and one of the residents, and so I have to make sure that resident sleeps. So.
Well, I do know that Nurse Boyd has been looking for opportunities, but comes with a caveat that he is a handful.
Fair enough. Do you know if he's got any birthing experience?
I don't. All I know is that he has been talking up a storm about that Mac Daddy of a birthing suite. You got the mother of all birthing suites, we might call it.
Well, one of the good things, I suppose, is that at the bare minimum, we've got birthing balls for everybody.
I don't know what sort of deal you made with the city council to get all this funding, but hey, good on you. I love it. Keep going.
It's probably the only one that exists in IHS. Let's just be honest here. So at least we've got that, even if the rest of this hospital is a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, speaking of our piece of shit time, it doesn't sound like they're going to press charges. Have you heard anything different?
Yeah,
just a slap on the wrist. Just the shit list.
Yep, I agree. No, I mean, I don't think they really can at this point because they don't have anybody else to go to. So I think that's pretty much what I'm hearing.
Saving grace. All right.
Yep, that's what I agree.
The only thing is that the evidence that they got, I don't know whose DNA is on it.
What do you mean?
I don't know who the patient is, who you were with, or what they had. But it seemed to be something pretty bad.
I mean, I know that there was one case that could have gone south really fast, and if it's that patient, that's the one that they're kind of hung up on. So I don't know. I hope that it, nothing comes to pass, but God knows the chief of staff's fucking down my neck right now about this whole thing.
And I think at that moment is when all sort of hell breaks loose as the tack factory explosion starts to take effect, and like ambulances are coming in and there's a bunch of people who are hurt. I say, well, listen, will you take Nurse Boyd on?
Yeah, I mean, I need some fucking sleep right now. Like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get through this day with multiple births without some sleep. So if I can get a little bit of help, I mean, heck, why not? I'll chat with them, no problem.
How does the scene go for me, John? Maybe I asked too soon.
Extra well.
It goes extra well for me. Awesome. So not only am I able to get Dr. Sarah Smith to agree to take on my underling, Nurse Boyd, to help out with some birthing. Additionally, I think that while no one's looking on all the bedlam, I'm able to break into the area where they have this object, this filthy, germy used handkerchief that's been lying on the floor that they found. And I'm able to get that. So I think that's what's going on.
Amidst this chaos in the tack factory, we've got people coming in left and right. We've got people coming in with injuries that include everything from minor injuries and scrapes, people screaming from, cuts from a couple of tacks that flew their way. And then there's like the people who legitimately were near the explosion and are missing limbs. So we've got people kind of all over the place, one of which happens to be pregnant and bleeding profusely from her vagina.
Ooh.
So she gets rushed into the OB-GYN suite where there's these 3 birthing moms who are having their lovely, calm, and peaceful births. And they are thrown off by this particular patient. So cutting into that, we've got the patient whose name is Jane, who is currently just freaking out, concerned she's going to lose this pregnancy. She's only about 24 weeks, so like end of second trimester, just getting into the third trimester. And so she's like kind of on that like cusp of like maybe can make it, maybe can't kind of a thing. We've got these 3 moms who are all really, really just like into having these like calm, collected births. One of them has a doula. The other 2 have their partners there with them. I'm turning and I'm going to chat here with this patient, Jane, who is completely out of control at this point. All right, Jane, I'm going to need your help here. We're going to have to get some of this bleeding under control before we can do anything else. Are you doing all right? Can you breathe?
I can barely breathe. Oh my God.
All right, I need some oxygen. Hey, Nurse Paddles, can you come in and help me out?
You got it, Doc.
All right, we need some oxygen here. Quickly, take a deep breath for me, Jane. Deep breaths, deep breaths.
Blood and tacks come out right now.
Blood and tacks.
All right, quick, we're going to need an emergency trach. I need people in here stat.
You're going to be just fine, honey. Just breathe.
My baby.
Baby's just going to be just fine. Don't you worry.
So much blood, my baby.
Don't you worry.
Something's wrong.
So before we can even get to treating Jane, there's a daydream.
So many tacks. Oh, my God.
At this point, Sarah's like kind of brought back by this like blood coming out, and she's like freaked out thinking, oh shit, here's my first like crisis trauma after getting in trouble with the hospital chief of staff. And she's like super concerned about this going down poorly. So she winds up off in her head a little bit about this filthy handkerchief that was found lying on the floor.
And we have a little bit of a
little daydream. So I'm gonna ask
you're
you all.
daydreaming as you're trying to fix up the vagina bleeding, tax spitting mother.
You'd be shocked at how much doctors can make happen in their brains.
It makes perfect sense to me. No.
All right. So I would love for you all to set this up for me. So we have a little bit of interesting things going on here with this handkerchief. I feel like you've given this more thought.
I almost think like the door opens. It's like straight out of The Shining.
Yeah.
Like the door opens and blood like floods in and fills the room.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
You're like treading water, and someone reaches down and hands you a handkerchief to like wipe your face as you like clasp it and start to go under.
Exactly.
How's this gonna go though?
I think that it goes poorly. It goes bad.
So Jane begins spewing this blood, and Sarah kind of freezes a little bit, and she's so overwhelmed by what's happening with this patient that she just kind of freezes. And when that happens, Jane begins to hemorrhage everywhere, not only from her mouth, but also from her vagina. Like there's so much blood just pouring out. And in the background, you can hear the other three women who are birthing, who are not only like, like breathing deeply during their contractions, but also you hear their screams. And so Sarah, at that point, she passes out and just falls to the floor.
I'll let you guys set up a scene for me. That's good.
Cool. Not a daydream, just a
Set
regular
up a
scene.
daydream.
Set up a daydream.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that you have you've got like some kind of like really like discomforting, like dream-esque friendship sequence going on around Dr. Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're pretty religious, and so the fact that like you've like heard the rumors that she's been providing abortions, so like that is like problematic for you. But at the same time, you like think she's really hot, and you want to hang out with her, and you like really want to be like her, right? Because you really want to get into like the OB-GYN world, and you know that she's a badass when it comes to OB-GYN, and so you're like really interested in building that out as like a mentorship friendship. But you're just like kind of got some like weird feelings about all of that, even though you're like super psyched to get to know her.
Cool. So how does that manifest in my daydream?
Well, the way I think that it manifests is that in the scene we were just in, you sort of are coming more to the rescue, that you're maybe being...
Well, in the daydream itself, right?
So
like,
in the daydream, I'm thinking like you're having more of this like less clinical and more of this just like jolly go lucky, like happy day, like yay, I've got like this best friend, and you like see us.
Is it almost like is it sort of like gospel-y too?
Possibly,
like it's got that bend
yeah.
to it, where
So we're placing this, you're up on the third floor working your shift, you're sort of...
I mean, it can be anywhere if it's daydreaming, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I meant...
Totally.
But if it's a daydream scene, we're sort of like, we're sort of fading into the daydream
Yeah.
from a place where you are.
Yeah.
And then whatever happens in the daydream, you sort of resolves the scene you're actually in when we come out of it,
we'll
it
kind
were.
of like, what happens
You'll
in the
be able to
daydream.
build what happens after, yeah.
Right.
But I would say there's some kind of like campiness to this. Like there's like definitely like a campy, like, yay, we're going to be best friends forever kind of feel.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the daydream, is that you and Dr. Smith like sitting down to lunch, or you and Dr. Smith, I don't know.
Like traipsing through the hall, skipping.
Yes,
Yeah, with like
that's
coffee in
perfect.
hand
Yes,
and like,
exactly.
yay, mocha
Feeding each other
frappuccinos.
food at the
Yes,
cafeteria.
yes, exactly.
So, yeah.
Pointing out passages and books to each other.
Totally.
You know, braiding each other's hair. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how will this go? I guess so. Then I get to determine how
Getting
it goes
matching
in my-
tattoos.
So I'm going to say it goes well
Okay.
within this scene.
Great.
All right,
Yeah.
So it's like, dun, 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 like we're best friends.
Yeah, we're
going
seeing like montage of you guys at the
we're going
theme
to like
park.
Bible study
You're going to
classes.
Bible study, sure.
Yeah.
And it sort of like culminates as I like sort of in my head, I push open the door to the birthing suite in my head, and they're like, she is being like fully immersed in a baptismal robe
Yes.
in the tank, and I'm just like beaming, and then like hard cut to this bedlam.
Yep.
Where the entire like birthing pool is full of
Like Sarah's
blood.
just passed out in front of you. And now here's your opportunity to save the day.
Yeah, so I leap into the pool and pull her out. She's fallen in.
Yeah, you totally do.
And I give her mouth to mouth.
Yes.
There you go.
You resuscitate Sarah. Yes.
And
sort of kiss her at the same time. It's sort of weird.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. But then I sort of like turn and reach underwater and pull out a mewling child from as Jane sort of sinks underwater. But I've there's a baby. I've delivered the baby.
Yes, you've delivered the baby, exactly. And the end of the scene is me looking up, going, "Call it, Rico. The mother's dead." All right.
Good thing we have a soft tilt and a soft aftermath in this one.
Good thing. I think that this scene is Nurse Practitioner Boyd, and Nurse Paddles. And they are hefting the dead body of Jane, the mother, onto a gurney, basically. She has like blood-soaked sort of white sheets over her. Yeah, we're zipping her up. Yeah, we zip her up in a bag. Exactly. We just had one around. We put her on there, and we're pushing her down, and we're taking her down to the morgue.
And I'm whistling my like dream sequence.
Yeah, you're a little
song.
bit maybe more upbeat than I am, and I'm just like covered in blood. And I'm like, I look at you and I say, I'm glad you're so happy.
Well, yeah, we did good today.
We kept our head above water, that's for sure.
Most of us did, and I point down to...
I shake my head. I have this like daydream of like grabbing your head and just like it's like smacking it just like into the corpse, like boom, 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 and then I like shake my head and I say, "Well, now, Boyd, I don't think that you're understanding the opportunity that's staring us in the face right now.
Opportunity,
bloody as it though it may be.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I know that you've been looking to make some extra money for those OBGYN classes.
Yeah, I had been hoping to get certified.
And you know me, I'm always has my nose out for an opportunity. And I know somebody who's paying good money, just for hard to get items, hard to get stuff.
What are you getting at? Paddles?
Well, it's sure as a shame this mother died. And I'm so glad that you delivered that baby and it's going to be alive. They should name it after you, really, when you think about it. But this mother here, she's done now. They're just there's no one to claim her. She's just going to be ground up, burned up, who knows what.
Well, she'll be interred proper. She's not an organ donor, so...
What if she was an organ donor?
That wasn't on the chart.
Are you sure?
Otherwise, we'd be rushing this into ice, man.
That's funny you say that because I think the chart might be different.
I don't think so. I think we'd be headed the other direction if that were the case.
Well, maybe we should head that other direction. And I think maybe this is a good time to figure out how the scene goes, Tiffany.
Yeah. I think it goes positively.
Yeah, buddy.
But only slightly.
Only slightly positively, okay. I might say, come on, man. Don't you want to work with Dr. Smith more?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of harm for a whole lot of good.
This Jedi Master can only teach the Padawan so much.
I don't get that, but all right. Sure.
I look at you like I just want to punch you. I have another just like daydream. It's like, but this time there's like the Star Wars theme, as I'm just like pounding your head into the body.
Well, all right. So what exactly you want to do?
I just need you to keep a watch out, man. That's all.
All right. All right.
Let's go the other way. We got to get this on ice.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. We head off the other way as we get that kidney. We get that kidney out on ice. Or rather, I do, as Nurse Boyd watches not me do the quick surgery, but watches out for anyone who might see us.
Okay, I think I want help with this scene. Setting up next step.
Okay.
Like a daydream, or
I'm gonna give you the choice. You can do either.
what do you feel, Ken?
I feel like daydream is fertile ground because we don't need to use it a lot, and you can just go sort of hog wild and get really funny and weird. But the scene is a daydream scene, but I think it's like from the other way around. We've seen sort of I think a daydream scene maybe from your perspective in terms of this one-sided friendship. But have we seen a daydream scene from your end? And by that I mean Dr. Smith has to be aware at least somewhat of Nurse Boyd. And so what would be
Kind of the equivalent.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
So
that would
I'm
be what I
thinking,
would
like,
think.
so-
or go back to really falling into some existential dread about this handkerchief.
I feel like the friendship one makes a lot of sense because, I mean, so my assumption here is that, Dr. Smith, she's in like Oklahoma. They're in IHS, all of which super conservative. The fact that she's been providing abortion, like that could get out in the community, like definitely puts her at risk. So she knows that like Gunnar has this like reputation, right, for being pretty religious.
Yeah, it's true. He does.
So, this is a daydream, like nightmarish daydream in the sense that like I think she's still out, right? Like she's been out. She's probably like she hit her head really hard. So I'm anticipating she's like currently in a bed somewhere, like laid
she's,
up.
like,
She like
unconscious.
she's unconscious. And so in this time, she's like kind of like reflecting.
She's in the Mac Daddy birthing suite,
Yes.
unconscious.
So
Yes.
how about this? She's kind of she wakes up in this room. It's just in a hospital room.
Yeah.
She's in her scrubs.
Yeah.
And there's still some blood on it. The door opens and 2 police officers come in
Oh.
with the chief of staff and Gunnar Boyd kind of hangdog back there behind her, and
Yep.
she's taken
Yeah.
almost like taken from the room out into what would normally be like, say, the cafeteria, but now it's a packed courtroom.
Yes, exactly.
She's sat down.
Yes, exactly. Now we're getting there.
And Gunnar Boyd is sitting there in the witness box.
The witness box, yeah.
Kind of like sheepishly looking at her.
And there's like the big bailiff, but it's like a rhinoceros or something like
with
that.
like long hair.
Yeah, with like,
Yeah,
but it's got
long
like
hair.
the hat on and the
Totally.
uniform.
Yeah.
Yep.
The prosecutor says, "What do you know?" to Boyd, and I think that's where you should decide where it's going to go.
Yeah, does this go well or
Yeah.
poorly for Dr. Smith?
I think it's gonna go poorly. So
Poorly for Dr. Smith.
So she like runs from this courtroom screaming like no, and like as she's running and she's exiting, there are these protesters outside, and the protesters are all like baby killer,
Baby
like
killer!
screaming at her, and then there's somebody with a gun and shoots her point blank in the
got a gun!
forehead. And that's when she actually snaps to and wakes up like as a jolt, and she's like
No.
and like sits bolt upright, and she's like back in like the beginning of that sequence, right, where like suddenly like the doors are opening and somebody's coming in, and as she's like sitting up and kind of panicked, she's like overcome with like nausea just from like the hitting her head, and just like has like a super bad headache, and in walks Gunnar, but this time he's like skipping a little bit and like kind of excited and like just coming back from this like side project with Nurse Paddles and her
side project.
reaction and her reaction is like she's so freaked out by him that she's like, get the fuck out of here, I don't want to see you right now. And how does Gunnar react?
He's taken aback and crestfallen and says, well, me and then he kind of points back, and around the corner, catching up to Gunnar, is the chief of staff. we were just coming to check on you. And the chief of staff is like, he's just scowling at you.
And she kind of is cowering under that and is just like, oh, what the fuck happened? And then like crashes back into the
Sarah!
So now we're going to...
Awesome.
So that's it for Act 1.
That does conclude
We are
Act
going
1.
to go to our tilt, and we're actually going to use the soft
Yes,
tilt.
we've never used this before, Burgos, so let us know what you think.
We generated a soft tilt. This is a little less brutal than a normal tilt would be. So we have quotable, I swear to God, I have no idea what happened, and violence, an old-fashioned ass-kicking. We interrupt our story here and will resume in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. With me?
Ken Breeze.
Tiffany Cook.
All right. Thanks, gang.
Thank you.
To learn more about the players and the engine in our story, visit boardghost.com. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at BoardGhostWorld on Twitter. Shout out through the ether if you have desires we can fulfill. Please leave reviews and comments on iTunes, your preferred listening portal, and take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest episodes. We'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying, don't agree with me. No.